I'm setting off today to scout out a field trip site, a potential field trip site known as The Hole. Whenever I set off into the Coast Range, into these hills, there is sort of a heart of darkness feel to it. The landscape is really making things difficult, generally speaking, but you know, as opposed to some other places in the world and even in this country, like where I'm from in Arkansas, there's really not that much stuff that's trying to actually hurt and kill you. Like no greenbriers, no rattlesnakes, no poison ivy. You know, stuff's relatively soft and mild, including the climate, although it's pretty damp. Anyway, so I'm heading up this road. I've been up this road before. I'm following Google Maps and we'll see if I can get there from here. There are a lot of gated roads in this area, so I'm a little wary. But I want to try it out because this route would be a lot more convenient than the somewhat longer route. I'm on Ferguson Road, I believe, and I'm hoping to take a turn up here a ways to take me over to High Pass Road. Now, High Pass Road does go back to the main highway, 99W. So I may have to backtrack all the way back to 99W, go south a little ways to get to High Pass Road. It'd be nice if I could get there this way though, because this is more convenient to the other sites on the field trip. Well, it is as I feared. The road that Google Maps is directing me down has a big steel gate across it. I'm not surprised, but I am disappointed. So High Pass Road went from pavement through sort of sparse dwellings here and there, nice dwellings here and there, into this. There was even a gate and a sign that said, not maintained October 1st through June 1st. Oh, here's another gate. I imagine they close that gate if there's a reason to, such as snow. And is this The Hole? This might be The Hole. Let's see. On the map there's a road, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. So you gotta just love seeing signs like this in the Coast Range. Yeah, you can get there from here. By the way, it's after October 1st. It might be locked, but snow hasn't occurred yet, so pretty sure we're gonna be okay. I don't think they're gonna lock it behind me. In any case, I'm out of the locked part of the road. That's good. Now that's where I'm parked. There is on the map the road to where I put the point of where I wanted to go. And this is Schwartz Creek burbling beneath the road here. So, time to boot up and see what I can see. I'm here at a little trail right here that goes up Schwartz Creek. I'm kind of all decked out here. Now, what I want to see is this a place where I can bring, 25 undergraduates? But secondary objective is to get a look at it, maybe get some video of it, if it turns out to not be the sort of place where I can take 25 undergraduates. So, let's see what we can see. Some big trees back here. Just never know where you're going to find these little pockets of giants. So at the top of this ridge here behind me is our stop 2B, or anyway, our second stop for the trip usually, which is our shallow soil profile. And here we are at the bottom of it. Off this way is a draw, a little bitty creek that drains that side of the ridge. And you can get some sense that it's pretty dang steep going up here. Of course, it'd be even steeper on those side slopes going down into the creek. You might, I don't know, might check that out. Well, I'm standing in this little stream. I find these little creek valleys just kind of adorable. They've got these cute little valley infills, these little flat bottoms to them, that just from my experience growing up in the Ozarks look just super out of place in that what I'm used to is valley walls coming straight down to bedrock, which is the stream bed. But here in the Coast Range, with debris flows filling up these little valleys now and again, these valley bottoms are flat. So the creek that I'm standing in is only about 1/2 meter wide, but the valley bottom itself, which I'll show you in a second, is, you know, several meters wide. There's also some pretty cool trees down here, and the sky's kind of opened up right here. I thought I might come across like an obvious debris flow deposit. Over here a ways I had to kind of climb up a bit on the valley floor to get to here. So it could be there's an old debris dam down here. Not super obvious anymore though, probably. So as I was mentioning, there's some pretty cool big trees down here. And we've got this little valley infill going from, oh, you know, right about there to, let's see, right about there. So several meters wide. Let's look upstream. Maybe get a little bit better sense. Still photographs in the Coast Range tend to be useless because it just looks green. Maybe with the moving camera you can get a better sense for it. But again, we've got this side slope coming in right here, and then over here. Well, actually, it's kind of interesting. I think there's a bit of a terrace riser right here, but I don't think that's not really going straight up the side slope. The actual side slope's a little bit further over there. So I think this is a little bit of an inset fill here. Just, yeah. Oh, there's a beauty up there. Look at that one. Just some really big trees. For those of you not from around here, you might want to know, are these old growth? Are these the old growth trees in the Coast Range that we've heard about, that they saved the spotted owl for? Let's check it out. So for example, let's check these out over here. Nah, those are big. Those are maybe, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to core them, but I'm going to guess those are on the order of 100, 150 years. Could be that those came up after the big fires of the mid-19th century here in the Coast Range. I've made my way down into Schwartz Creek, out the mouth of the little draw that I was in, and into Schwartz Creek. And at the mouth of Schwartz, I'm sorry, at the mouth of that little draw that appears to be a bit of a debris fan. You can see here, for example, there are some boulders that are not particularly rounded. Boulders that look like that in their size and shape and irregularity or angularity are generally only going to get here by way of mass movement, in particular debris flow. And debris flow is a pretty good bet, being at the mouth of this little creek, or at the confluence of Schwartz Creek with this little creek up that way. Now, in order to see if there might be some sort of relatively dramatic downcutting, it makes sense to go downstream of the fan, where it looks pretty steep over there, rather than upstream, where we might have to go a ways upstream before we get to a place where the creek's not impounded, or where there's not sediment impounded by this debris fan. I did walk a little down there and then back up here. There's a bit of a debris dam there that I don't want to try to work my way through. I'm going to have to go around. So I'll see if I can go around up to the side here, back onto the road, and then back down to the creek. We'll see. So I'm down a bit, about mid-fan. There's still looks like a pretty good drop down from here. I want to see if I can make it down to where you can kind of see the dusky western red cedar fronds through the gap in the leaves there. But I stopped here because check out this side slope. This is friggin' wicked steep. Now this is beyond side slope steep. This is toe slope steep. And this is the kind of thing that I was hoping I might be able to see in here. I mentioned a minute ago dramatic downcutting. Why would I expect to see dramatic downcutting here? Or do I expect to see dramatic downcutting? And the answer is that, well, maybe. So Schwartz Creek goes up that way a ways, makes a left-hand turn up there, and then kind of flattens out. And what I'm surmising is that flattening out represents a recently captured piece of the South Fork of the Alsea River. So if, in geologic time anyway, it's recently captured that area, then Schwartz Creek is going to have had a boost to its contributing area, and therefore its mean annual discharge and everything else, all the other discharges. And so we might expect to see it kind of buzzing down rather rapidly, although, again, we're talking geologic time, whereas debris flows fill this in over much shorter time periods, say human lifespan type time scales. And so we might not, but down here I am seeing this pretty tall toe slope. Now the side slopes here in the Coast Range are ridiculously steep, typically about 40 degrees. But just by my eye, this is looking more like what I expect from an oversteepened toe slope, something probably approaching 60 degrees. And we can see a little bedrock outcropping over there where that tree has fallen down. I don't know if that's bedrock or just a boulder pulled to the surface. Anyway, I would imagine soils are pretty thin to non-existent along there. Obviously there is some soil. There's enough soil for all that green to be there, but well, anyway, let's keep going downstream a little ways. I'm going to have to climb back up again out the side on the right side of the channel here to get through, because there's all this debris that I have no business trying to work my way through. It's moments like these that make me think that maybe my 25 years of experience in the field here in the Coast Range isn't wasted in terms of the kinds of intuitions I have for what I might see and where. So, boulder-strewn stream bed up here, which is what I'd expect where the channel is cutting down the face of it, the downstream side of a debris fan. And then up here, some wicked toe slope cutting. Can't really see it. I'll move the camera in a bit and point it out. Relatively dramatic, not for its sheer height or anything, but for the fact that it's so bare. It looks so recent. So let's take a look at that. So you can see there, the rock sticking out. There's, I think, bedrock exposed right there. And you can see that it's relatively free of vegetation as these things go in the Coast Range. Some stuff colonizing, but you see it's a relatively recent little slip there. And then upslope of that, it's just more wicked steep. Maybe you're more run-of-the-mill 40 degrees. Hard to tell from here. And so here's another spot just upstream of the last, where you can see that scoured off spot there. Yeah. Not so much scoured as collapsed, slicked off due to the stream cutting down here at the base of the slope. And again, you can see a little more of the slope of that cut. And it's, you know, it's more run-of-the-mill, wicked steep, probably 40 degrees, although it may be a little steeper than that for a ways there. Looks like there might be a bit of a not leveling out, but a little break-in slope right here before it continues up again, maybe more like 60 degrees, and then up slope of that, it's just your run-of-the-mill wicked steep again. Not sure about that. I'm not going to climb up there, for God's sakes. Anyway, let's have another look at the stream here. Our boulder-strewn stream. And there's the other cut that I was just pointing out a minute ago. And our stream continuing on down. Here's the LiDAR map for the hole. Here is where I parked. And here's Schwartz Creek. It's kind of interesting. Like I said, it goes up here, and then it captures a bit of what's way up on this upland up here, and a bit of it here, and a bit of it here. But then check all this out. All that's draining through Schwartz Creek. So in the broader view, what's going on here? We've got this low relief upland. And I'll switch over to the slope map, because that's somewhat instructive in seeing what's going on. You can see this relatively low relief, or low slopes here. And then you got your wicked steep, highly dissected stuff through here. So you can kind of see a through line of this contiguous upland with relatively low slopes up here. And you see dribs and drabs of it all down through here. So this is not a super neat and tidy process. You can see where Schwartz Creek has sort of eaten in here, picked up this, which was probably draining through to the north. So it's picked up a big piece of this here, but not yet steepened it up fully. We switch back over to the shaded relief map. We can zoom in a little bit on Schwartz Creek, see some of what's going on. So let's see now. Here's High Pass Road coming in, and here's where I parked. And then I walked into here. My first stand-up was at the base of this ridge here. Up here is the shallow profile. And then I walked up into this little drainage a little bit, and then down to the creek, which is pushed up against the other valley wall. Now let's check that out. So now I've zoomed in. Again, this is the ridge where the shallow profile's up here. I did my first stand up, right around here. Then I walked up into this creek a bit. I think this is a sort of relatively flat place that I found. You can see where there was a drop there that I had to go around. And I kind of made my way down to the creek here. I had to come back up and so on to get into the creek as it's going down, cutting rather steeply along the perimeter of this fan here. So we've got this sort of fan shape you can see at the outlet of this little small creek. Now what I was identifying as, look at this evidence of dramatic incision. A more reasonable explanation of that is probably that debris flows coming out on this fan. The fan has grown to push the stream all the way to the opposite valley wall, and that is forcing it to cut very steep toe slopes along here especially. Let's see if that shows up on the slope map in particular. You can sort of see, I don't know exactly where I was. I do have GPS points, but I'm not sure they're going to show up super well here. You can see with this slope map the stream pretty clearly, and you can see some much higher slopes right in here. Not sure that's where I was or whether I was more up here, but anyway, see how we've got this relatively low slope fan thing here and some very high slopes around the periphery on the opposite valley wall. So that's, I think, a lot of what's going on that we're seeing on the ground in terms of that cutting into that slope and creating that very steep, over-steepened toe slope. It can be quite useful to look at the LiDAR. We're a little limited in what we can see with it through all those trees, but it does reveal this morphology that was somewhat apparent to me on the ground. I did remark on the fact that there was a fan. I just wasn't quite grokking the fact that the fan seemed to be pushing the channel up against that valley wall there, and that's probably what was responsible for the the relatively new sort of outer bank failures or collapses or oversteepenings over there. I think that's about going to wrap it up for this visit to The Hole, which is the name of this little canyon here. And here the rain's starting to pick up, and forecast says it's just going to continue raining all afternoon. I'm fine in my full-on Arc'teryx rain gear, but I think I've seen what I need to see here. Pretty neat spot.